They told you to be patient. They told you to work hard, keep your head down, and trust that the years would reward you. It is the advice of men who have already lost the game, passed down generation to generation, like a debt nobody admits is a debt. In the courts of old Florence, there was a different teaching. Patience was for the peasant. The merchant prince did not wait for fortune. He calculated for it, positioned for it, and when the moment came, he struck. This is not a story about luck. It is a story about architecture. The architecture of power, translated into the only language the modern world still worships, money. Open the ledger, let's begin. There are two games being played on this earth, and almost no one tells you there's a choice. The first is the field. On the field, men compete by the hour. They trade their body, their time, their single irreplaceable life for a wage. The field rewards effort. It punishes nothing more than it punishes ambition. The second is the court. In the court, no one is paid for their hours. They are paid for their position. A single signature from a seated duke moves more gold than 1,000 laborers moving stone for a year, not because the duke works harder, because the duke has arranged the board so that outcomes flow toward him. The poor are taught to master the field. The rich are taught, quietly, privately, often by family, to abandon the field entirely and seize a seat at the court. This script is your seat. Here is the law beneath every fortune that was not inherited. Your hours are finite. Leverage is not. A man who sells his labor has built nothing when he stops. A man who builds leverage, a system, an asset, a piece of capital that keeps moving when he sleeps, has built a throne that produces gold, whether he sits on it or not. Think of the old condottieri, the mercenary captains of Renaissance Italy. The captain who fought in the front line earned a soldier's pay and a soldier's grave. The captain who commanded armies, who never swung a sword himself, earned a province. The lesson translates, with brutal precision, into modern wealth. The freelancer who trades hours for invoices is the soldier. The owner of the system that produces without him is the captain. Stop asking, how do I work harder? Start asking, what can I build that works when I do not? Every ruler who waited for certainty before acting died waiting. Fortune, the old philosophers said, is a river that floods without warning. The fool builds no defenses because the sky is clear today. The strategist builds the dam before the storm, and when the river finally rises, he is already standing on dry ground, watching lesser men drown in their own hesitation. Translate this into your bank account. The wealthy do not wait to feel ready before they invest, launch, or commit capital. They calculate the downside, accept it consciously, and move while the timid are still drafting a 5-year plan that will be obsolete in 5 months. This is not recklessness. Recklessness is moving with no calculation. Boldness is moving because you calculated and decided the cost of inaction is higher than the cost of a bruised ego. The peasant plays defense against poverty. The prince plays offense for expansion. One mindset keeps you safe and small. The other makes you dangerous and rich. Every fortune built at speed is built on some combination of 4 instruments. Master them, and you no longer need luck. You need only patience for the board, not patience for the outcome. 1 gold capital as a weapon. Money that sits is a corpse. Money that moves is a soldier. The court did not hoard coin in a vault to admire it. It deployed gold to buy land, fund expeditions, finance allies, each deployment designed to return more gold than it spent. Capital is not wealth. Capital is a weapon, and a weapon left in its sheath wins no provinces. If you have saved money and done nothing with it, but watch it shrink against inflation, you are not being prudent. You are disarming yourself in a war everyone else is fighting. 2 men, the multiplication of will. 1 man, however brilliant, has 1 pair of hands. A prince with 20 loyal captains has 20 pairs of hands, each moving toward his single will. This is the most uncomfortable truth in this entire script. You cannot get meaningfully rich alone. At some point your wealth ceiling becomes the ceiling of your own 2 hands, unless you learn to direct other hands. Hiring, delegating, building a team is not generosity. It is multiplication. Every person you employ well is an extension of your own ambition, working hours you will never personally live. 3. Foresight, reading the tide before it turns. The court that survived for centuries was the court that read the shifting tides of trade, war, and alliance before the peasants, in the square, even noticed the wind had changed. In your century, the tide is called a trend, a technology, a platform, a shift in attention, and it moves faster than any river in history. The fortune does not go to the man who recognizes the trend once everyone is shouting about it. It goes to the one who positioned himself when it was still a rumor. Foresight is not prophecy. It is simply paying closer attention than your competitors are willing to pay. For spectacle, attention as currency. The old courts understood something the modern world has only rediscovered. A crowd's gaze is worth more than its coin, because the gaze can be converted into coin again and again, while coin spent once is simply gone. A duke who commanded the attention of a kingdom could move markets with a rumor, raise armies with a speech, secure marriages with mere reputation. Today, attention is captured in feeds and screens instead of palace squares, but the principle has not aged a single day. Whoever holds the gaze of the crowd holds a currency that mints itself. If you are building anything today and ignoring attention, you are a duke who refuses to speak in public. You may be right. No one will ever know it. Not every province is worth conquering. The court did not waste armies on barren land. Some industries are built with a ceiling baked into their foundation. Every additional unit of output requires roughly one additional unit of labor. You can be the most disciplined person alive in such a field, and you will still hit a wall built by the terrain itself. Other industries are built with no ceiling at all. Digital products, media, technology, distribution systems, terrain where one unit of effort can be sold to one person or to 1 million at nearly the same cost. Choosing your battlefield is, quietly, the single highest leverage decision a person ever makes, and the one almost no one is taught to make consciously. You do not rise faster by working harder in the wrong terrain. You rise faster by relocating the war to terrain where scale is built into the ground itself. There is a moment that comes for everyone who begins to win, and it comes disguised as bad news. The moment people start criticizing you. Understand this clearly. A man standing still draws no fire. Arrows are only loosed at the man who is moving, who is visible, who is gaining ground that others wanted for themselves. Criticism, envy, the sudden coldness of people who once smiled at you, these are not signs you have done something wrong. They are a receipt, proof of purchase, evidence that you have taken territory someone else believed belonged to them. The old courts knew this and trained for it. They did not mistake the hiss of jealous rivals for the judgment of wise counsel. They learned to tell the two apart and to keep walking regardless, because retreating from envy is the surest way to remain someone nobody envies at all. Everything above is mechanism. This is the synthesis. Wealth at speed is not chaos. It is calculus, the deliberate management of three variables at once. Position, stand where leverage compounds naturally, not where effort is rewarded one unit at a time. Perception, build a reputation for reliability long before you need to spend it, because trust is the only currency that lets you move capital, people, and opportunity faster than your competitors can react. Timing, hold your boldness in reserve until the calculation favors you, and then spend it entirely, without hesitation, the instant it does. This was never a race for the hardest worker. It was always a contest for the clearest strategist. The peasant exhausts himself proving his effort to a field that does not care. The prince spends a fraction of that effort positioning himself somewhere effort finally compounds. Close the ledger. The choice of which game you play was never taken from you. It was simply never offered.